I am glad you clicked on this video. This means you can follow my road to insanity by getting 50 PlayStation 3 Platinum trophies before I hit 5,000 subscribers. Every new game will be chosen by a mystery wheel.
Shuffle. Shuffle 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Click to spin. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. Please give me a good game. No, I don't want to play that game.
If I don't complete the challenge, I need to get a platinum trophy tattoo somewhere on my body. Make sure to subscribe so you can add some pressure and make me go crazy. Welcome to paradise. Or at least that's what the brochure said. Because Dead Island is less of a vacation and more of a fever dream you'd have after drinking expired coconut water and getting bit by a meth-addicted seagull. It's the kind of all-inclusive experience where instead of a welcome cocktail, you get a rusty wrench and a deeply buried sense of regret. And if you're here to learn about the Platinum Trophy journey on the PS3, congratulations, you're just as emotionally unstable as I am. Let's get one thing clear, Dead Island isn't a hard platinum in the traditional sense. It's not brutally difficult, it's just exhausting. Like spending a weekend with your in-laws, you might survive, but it will change you. Forever. Now, as with every trophy journey, there are peaks and valleys. And then there's this game, which feels like a heat stroke, induced hallucination made entirely of escort missions, broken hitboxes, and side quests designed by someone who genuinely hates you. This trophy lures you in with a false promise, like a toaster in a bathtub. Breach a door with one hit, it says. Simple, right? Wrong. You'll spend more time staring at that lock-picking meter than playing the actual game. One slight twitch, one mistimed push of the stick, and your character smashes the door like they're trying to woo it with violence. The real horror of Dead Island isn't the zombies, it's that damned minigame. It taunts you. The rhythm never feels the same. The timing, pure chaos. And just when you're ready to give up and bash every door down with your head, it happens. First blow. Door bursts open like divine intervention. Trophy unlocked. Relief? No. Just the knowledge that you'll need to do this 20 more times because your dumb completionist brain won't let it go. Welcome to hell. Population U. This trophy is basically the buffet from hell. The game hands you a stick, then a wrench, then a cleaver, and suddenly you're knee deep in corpses thinking, did I already kill something with a baseball bat, or was that the pipe? You become a psychotic chef testing out recipes. Except instead of food, it's dismemberment. And of course, the zombies never politely line up and wait. No. They're rude, they interrupt, and worst of all, they die before you can switch weapons. So you keep walking them like a deranged Santa testing out presents. Eventually, the trophy pops and you've forgotten who you are. You're not a survivor. You're a maniac in sandals juggling machetes on a tropical nightmare island. 10 different melee weapons. Zero dignity. Congratulations, you're now officially the Gordon Ramsay of zombie slaughter. Here's the thing, you find blueprints, you find parts, you build something cool, and it breaks 5 minutes later. Welcome to Dead Island's crafting system, where weapons are made of paper and spite. You go through the trouble of collecting batteries, duct tape, metal scraps, essentially garbage. You spend in-game currency like a desperate dad in a DIY store. You finally create a weapon called the Shocker, which sounds illegal in most countries. Then you hit one zombie and it's already begging for repairs. And the cherry on top, the trophy pops like it's proud of you. You've just built a malfunctioning weed walker with barbed wire, and the game applauds. That weapon cost more than your character's education, and it's made of kitchen utensils. But hey, trophy unlocked. And now you'll never look at a toaster or gas canister the same way again. Ah yes, vehicular manslaughter, the most efficient way to get therapy on a tropical island. You climb into a pickup truck and suddenly Dead Island becomes GTA Brain Damage Edition. But here's the catch, zombies are allergic to roads. You'll drive 3 km, find no one, turn around, and suddenly there's a whole undead music festival behind you. You clip them, they ragdoll, and you laugh like a man who hasn't felt joy since the tutorial. Then you hit a rock, truck stuck. Zombies chew on your bumper like it's barbecue night. You start pushing the vehicle like some apocalyptic Uber driver. Eventually, 50 zombies meet the grill and the trophy pops. What should feel like an achievement feels more like a hit and run report. Still, it's oddly satisfying. Nothing says, I survived the apocalypse, like a zombie pancake beneath your tires and a smile you didn't earn. Reaching level 10 in Dead Island is like surviving your first week in prison. Technically progress, but at what cost? You run errands for people who think important means Go 3 kilometers through a zombie-infested jungle for my alcohol stash. Every mission is some variation of, please help, I'm dumb and now I'm surrounded. You kill zombies, complete quests, repair your crowbar for the 50th time, and slowly your XP bar creeps upward. Like molasses in winter in hell, level 10 finally hits and nothing changes. You're still underpowered, still surrounded, and still asking why you're here. Except now enemies scale with you, so the game just gets meaner. It's like getting promoted to punching bag with a fancier title. The trophy pops. You blink, you stare into the abyss, and the abyss says, great job, now do it 40 more times. This is where the game stops being Dead Island and starts being a low-budget MMA simulator. You're told to punch zombies to death. Punch zombies to death. No brass knuckles, no gloves, just pure knuckle meets rotten flesh action. It's like trying to knock out a punching bag filled with soup. Your character throws these slow, awkward haymakers while the undead laugh in decaying agony. You land 5 punches, take a bite, and your stamina is already filing for bankruptcy. So what do? Strip down to your metaphorical boxers and start swinging like a lunatic. You look like a yoga instructor on bath salts trying to fight a blender. And then 25 kills later, the trophy pops. You sit there bleeding, infected, question your life choices. Why fists? Why now? Why anything? And yet, somewhere deep down, a caveman part of your brain smiles. Because you beat death with your own damn hands. This trophy sounds epic, like you're forging the hammer of Thor in a tropical resort. In reality, you tape a battery to a machete and pray it doesn't explode in your face. The game makes it sound like divine engineering. What it really is trash alchemy. Scrap metal, duct tape, some wires, and boom. You've invented electrified disappointment. Your weapon shocks zombies, sure, but it also breaks faster than your will to keep playing. You spend more time looking for bleach and deodorant than actually killing things. By the time you finally make a modded fire axe that sets enemies ablaze, you're too tired to celebrate. You swing it once, it sizzles, it cracks, and suddenly you're back to using a broomstick again. The trophy pops. Not because you've created something godlike, but because you've learned how to burn zombies and your own patience at the same time. Well done, inventor. Tesla would be ashamed. This trophy sounds like poetry 5 infected, 1 hit each all in a row. But in practice, it's like trying to juggle chainsaws while blindfolded. First, you need a weapon that hits like a truck. Not just any truck. A truck with unresolved trauma. Then you need to find 5 infected, not zombies. Infected, the ones that sprint at you like they just snorted a line of bath salts. You stand there, weapon in hand, heart racing, and the moment you see a group of them, it's go time. You swing. 1 goes down, 2, 3, then 1 dodges, you panic, the combo breaks. Restart, again. When it finally works, it feels like you just aligned the planets using only your thumbs. The trophy pops. You stare at the screen like you've just witnessed a miracle. 1 hit, 5 kills, your sanity, still missing. 10 kilometers. Doesn't sound like much, right? Just a casual Sunday drive through the apocalypse. You'd think with all the zombies on the road, this would fly by. But Dead Island's vehicles handle like shopping carts possessed by demons. You steer left, the car goes right. You try to brake, and suddenly you're doing donuts in a ditch surrounded by the moaning undead. And let's not forget the map. Half the roads are blocked, the other half lead to nowhere. You end up driving in circles, hoping the odometer isn't lying. Eventually, you start taking detours just to rack up distance. Not for loot, not for missions. Just pure soul-numbing mileage. When the trophy finally pops, it doesn't feel like an achievement. It feels like Stockholm Syndrome. You've bonded with your rusted pickup. You've named it. You've wept in it. 10 kilometers later, you're not just a survivor. You're the worst Uber driver on the island. Act 1 is where Dead Island pretends to be a normal game. You wake up in a hotel, half-naked, confused, and immediately forced into the role of zombie exterminator / errand boy. Go here, they say. Find my necklace, they beg. Help me, I locked myself in a bar with 12 zombies and no common sense. And like an idiot with a hero complex, you go. The island is beautiful if you ignore the screaming, the blood, and the rotting corpses having a beach party. You meet characters who couldn't survive a Tuesday and somehow you're their last hope. Every mission feels like babysitting people who forgot how to live. You level up. You loot. You wonder why half your weapons break after 2 hits. Eventually, Act 1 ends. The trophy pops. You should feel accomplished. But instead, you feel tired, because paradise is dead and you're the janitor cleaning up the mess. There's something deeply wrong with a game that turns limb removal into a progress tracker. This trophy doesn't ask you to kill zombies. No, it wants art, precision, dismemberment. It wants you to treat every encounter like you're auditioning for the Walking Dead Orthopedic Surgeon Edition. You start experimenting. Blades, axes, machetes, anything that can detach a limb with style. And soon, you learn that zombies don't lose their arms easily. You have to aim. Time. Swing with intent. It's not combat, it's butchery. You hit one too high, shoulder slash. Too low, shin bruise. Dead on. Arm flies, blood sprays, and you hear a faint, triumphant chime in your soul. By the 100th limb, you're not even reacting anymore. Just carving your way through corpses like it's your job. The trophy pops. Your character sighs. You sigh louder. There's no applause. Just the quiet knowledge that you've become disturbingly efficient at turning people into jigsaw puzzles. At first, this sounds healthy. Just walk 20 kilometers, the game says, as if you're on a pleasant beach stroll, sipping a cocktail while the undead nibble on your calves. But no, this is Dead Island, where cardio isn't fitness, it's punishment. Your stamina drains faster than your will to live. You run 5 seconds, stop to pant like a retired marathon runner, and then get smacked in the back by a zombie with unresolved anger issues. You try to walk. That's safer, right? Wrong. Every 3 steps ambush. Every detour blocked. You run in circles like an idiot, hoping the game's invisible pedometer is working. Eventually, the world becomes a treadmill of despair. You stop caring about quests, about loot, about anything. You just walk and walk and walk until the trophy finally pops like a guilt-ridden Fitbit. You don't feel accomplished. You feel broken and slightly thinner. Blunt weapons in Dead Island are like relationships. Messy, exhausting, and they break when you need them most. The game hands you pikes, bats, hammers, basically anything heavy enough to cave in a skull, but slow enough to guarantee regret. You swing like a lunatic, hoping the zombie dies before your stamina does. Spoiler, it doesn't. You're constantly repairing your weapon, because apparently metal rods are made of paper in this universe. And aiming, you try to go for the head, but half the time you just tickle their shoulders while they bite your ear off. Each kill feels less like victory and more like a slow, sloppy negotiation with death. Eventually, after 250 undead skulls have met their dented doom, the trophy pops. Not with fireworks, no. With a quiet ding and a whisper of, "You're free now." You stare at your weapon, then at the horde, then you pick up another pipe and keep swinging. Your very special day. Nothing says celebration like electrocuting a corpse with a machete that hums like a microwave. This trophy demands creativity, deadly creativity. You're no longer just surviving, you're crafting DI nightmares. Baseball bats with nails, hatchets that ignite, knives that shock like a taser on steroids. Somewhere between genius and war crime. But here's the catch. Modified weapons break faster than your morale. Every swing chips away at their durability. And your soul. You're constantly scavenging for duct tape and deodorant like a sweaty MacGyver lost in a horror movie. You spend more time in workbenches than in combat, and every zombie starts to feel like a test dummy for your violent inventions. When you finally hit 250 kills, the trophy pops, but you're too numb to care. You've turned into a monster, a sweaty, blood-soaked craftsman. This wasn't survival, this was arts and crafts for the criminally insane. Ever wanted to do the same boring chores 4 times in a row, but with different outfits? Dead Island heard you and said, let's make that a trophy. You get to relive Act 1 with 4 walking stereotypes: a rapper, a cop, a throwing expert, and whatever the hell Perna is. Each one starts the same way: wake up confused, bashing skulls, get sent on errands by people too lazy to save their own lives. By the second character, you're already dead inside. By the third, you know exactly where the zombies spawn, where the loot is, and where your patience ends. And by the fourth, you're not even playing, you're just performing. A one-man show titled, "Please End This." You the trophy pops. You don't celebrate, you sit in silence, staring at the screen, whispering, "Never again." And deep down, you know that's a lie. Because this is the price of platinum. And you've already sold your soul. Let me tell you how I got this trophy. I joined another player's game. That player was also me. And so was the third one. And the fourth. I was basically the entire co-op lobby, a one-man army of loneliness, surrounded by 3 PS3 consoles humming in perfect synchronization like a choir of regret. No teamwork, no chaos, no 12-year-olds screaming into headsets. Just me, switching controllers like a deranged conductor in a symphony of sad efficiency. I didn't join a friend. I joined a carbon copy of my own despair. But hey, it worked. The system didn't care. Someone else is here. It said, good enough. The trophy popped. I stared at the screen, alone, victorious, slightly ashamed, because in Dead Island, you don't need friends. You just need hardware time and a total lack of social life. Need a hand. Nah, I've got 3. Time to get surgical swords, machetes, cleavers, anything that cuts clean through rotting flesh. But let's not pretend you earned this in a thrilling online adventure. No, you did it the true platinum way, by setting up 3 PS3s and playing co-op with yourself. Just you 3 controllers and the quiet hum of existential crisis in the background. Meanwhile, you're out here playing Fruit Ninja Corpse Edition. Every slash sends limbs flying and stamina plummeting. You're not fighting for survival, you're farming. Efficiently, coldly. Like a bored butcher with a checklist. The zombies don't even stand a chance. They exist solely to be chopped, diced, and dumped for your digital satisfaction. The trophy pops after 250 undead have met the sharp end of your artificial determination. And all you're left with is blood, silence, and 3 consoles staring back at you, whispering, "You okay, bro?" Originality. There's nothing original about this. It's just Dead Island saying, play musical chairs but with despair. And like before, you didn't gather friends, organize a session, or engage in teamwork. No, you set up a LAN party of 1, powered by 3 dusty PS3s and a brain slowly unraveling. You assign each controller a different character. Sambi, Logan, Shyam, Perna, and load them into a lobby. It's not co-op, it's schizophrenia on a budget. You bump into yourself, accidentally punch your own teammate, then spend 10 minutes trying to move 4 characters 3 feet without tripping over cables or your own shame. But the system doesn't care. 4 different characters. Check. All controlled by the same person. Doesn't matter, trophy unlocked. Irony achieved. You beat the concept of multiplayer by becoming every player. Original. Maybe not. But disturbingly efficient, absolutely. Now this sounds spicy, ooh la la, but let's be honest, there was nothing romantic about it. No excitement, no chaos, just you controlling 3 PS3s at once, trying to herd digital idiots through 5 identical fetch quests. You didn't have partners, you had puppets. Drooling idle puppets whose AI couldn't survive a flight of stairs without supervision. You complete quest after quest, walking your lifeless alt accounts around like zombie sims. The padding, a joke. The pacing, a nightmare. You're pressing buttons on 3 controllers like you're defusing a bomb while conducting CPR on your dignity. Every time one of your clones gets stuck in a doorframe, a small part of you dies. But eventually, 5 quests are done. The trophy pops, and you sit back alone surrounded by controllers, wondering how this became your life. 3 partners, 1 man, 0 friends. Just another day in Platinum hell. Let's not pretend you had a squad for this. There were no laughs, no strategy, no let's stick together moments. What you had was 3 PS3s silently suffering under your command like prisoners in a digital gulag. Together in the light, more like alone in fluorescent regret. You loaded all 4 characters into one game, picked 5 easy quests, and started dragging your own corpses through them like a dad carrying 3 sleeping kids to the car. Zombies showed up. Only 1 controller fought back. The others just stood there like mannequins, occasionally twitching as you tried to keep them alive long enough to check off the objective. 5 quests later, the trophy popped. Did you feel like a team player? Nope. You felt like a guy who just hosted a LAN party for himself and no one showed up again. But hey, that's 4 bars of connectivity. With yourself, I do want to say thank you to one of the subscribers called Kakarot. He helped me get these challenges. This trophy is a lie. It sounds like something earned through adventure, exploration, heroism. But no, you become a glorified delivery boy for the dumbest survivors ever written. My teddy bear is missing. I dropped my insulin in a zombie nest. Can you fix the electricity even though I'm literally standing next to the switch? So you say yes. 75 times. You run across beaches, jungles, sewers. You kill, loot, backtrack, and listen to the same 3 voice actors pretend their surprise zombies still exist. Quests blur together like a fever dream. You stop reading objectives. You stop caring. You're not a survivor, you're an unpaid intern in the apocalypse, completing tasks so thankless they make corporate spreadsheets look exciting. Then ding, trophy unlocked. You pause. Not in triumph, but in disbelief. 75 quests, no glory, no fanfare, just blood sand and the slow creeping rot of your sanity. Boozy, more like professionally broken. Going steady. Sounds like you're building trust, forming bonds, maybe even falling in love, but let's not kid ourselves. Your co-op partner was, once again, you. Multiple consoles, multiple controllers, 0 actual companionship, just a sad waltz of self-sabotage. You loaded in, started quests, and dragged your silent, soulless co-op puppet through 25 missions. Sometimes they got stuck on fences. Sometimes they stood there, staring blankly at a wall, questioning nothing. Because they couldn't, they were you. And you were all of them, at once. The game thought you were having a great time. Whoa, look at them cooperating! It thought! But what it didn't know was that you were alt-tabbing between existential crisis and controller juggling. No high fives, no voice chat. Just you working with yourself, for yourself through 25 joyless assignments. Then the trophy popped, and you realized this wasn't going steady. This was dating your own insanity. The RAM. 800 pounds of rotting muscle, straight out of your worst gym nightmares. He charges like a freight train, growls like an empty stomach, and flattens you faster than your motivation to finish this game. And the trophy, it demands that you tackle him. You, the human toothpick with a mild concussion. The timing must be perfect. You wait for him to sprint, and then you sprint too, like two drunk bulls colliding in a shopping mall. Most of the time, you miss, or he hits first, or your character forgets how legs work. You heal, reload, try again, and again. Eventually, by some divine accident or dark magic, your tackle lands. The ram grunts, drops, and the trophy pops. You don't cheer, you just breathe. Because for one brief moment, you weren't the victim, you were the truck. And that undead linebacker, roadkill, dedicated student, sounds like you've been attending seminars, reading books, bettering yourself. But in Dead Island, education comes in the form of bludgeoning the undead with whatever sharp object you can duct tape to a broom handle. And the only diploma you get is PTSD. Level 25 doesn't just happen. It drips in slowly, XP point by miserable XP point. Each quest gives a pathetic reward. Each kill grants a fraction of progress. So you start grinding. Grinding missions, grinding zombies, grinding your own teeth. You try to be efficient, but the game doesn't care. It throws suiciders, rams, and infected at you like they're extras in a zombie-themed circus. Meanwhile, your weapons break, your stamina vanishes, and the only thing that's really leveling up is your tolerance for nonsense. Finally, you hit level 25, the trophy pops. You exhale, a student no more. You've graduated, in trauma. 10 different partners, 15 minutes each. Sounds like speed dating in a war zone. But let's be honest, there were no real people involved. This wasn't teamwork, this was you, and 9 extra profiles you fabricated like a mad scientist building a Len Frankenstein. You created accounts, loaded characters, set timers. Then you spent 150 minutes playing with yourself. Literally. Each partner stood there unmoving, soulless like mannequins in a horror museum. Meanwhile, you did all the work, they just existed, quiet, obedient, and tragically underpaid. You began forgetting which controller controlled who had the mech kits, who was stuck on the stairs, which one was actually you. It didn't matter. You pushed through the haze, checking off profiles like you were filling out a census in hell. And when the 10th Phantom Companion finished their time, the trophy popped. People person. And you laughed, alone, surrounded by consoles, cables, and absolutely no people. Simple on paper, just 10 headshots in a row. But this isn't Call of Duty, it's Dead Island, where aiming feels like trying to thread a needle while riding a lawnmower through a hurricane. The guns are clunky, ammo is rare, and zombies love to zigzag like drunk athletes. So you line up your shots, hands sweaty, heart pounding like this is a hostage negotiation. First zombie bang headshot, second Z boom, nice, third miss panic, reload, too late, combo broken, start over. Again and again, it's less of a challenge and more of a psychological experiment in failure tolerance. Eventually, you enter a trance, 10 clean kills, heads popping like overripe fruit, and then ding. Trophy unlocked. You don't smile, you don't cheer, you just lower your weapon, whisper, finally, and stare into the digital void. Because in Dead Island, precision isn't rewarded, it's endured. Collectibles, the lifeblood of fake progress. 60 random items scattered across an island full of death, sewage, and invisible geometry. You're not looking for survivors, you're looking for postcards, tape recorders, and random pages like some deranged librarian with a machete. At first you think I'll pick them up as I go. Fool. They're hidden behind furniture, on roofs, in locked rooms, with no purpose other than to waste your time. You start following guides, you walk into every building, squint at every table, and begin to hate your own eyes. One missing. Enjoy combing every inch of Benoit while zombies slap you out of your pixel hunting trance. Then, finally, 60. The trophy pops. You've found them all. But you're not proud. You feel dirty. You didn't achieve something. You collected garbage while the world burned around you. And the worst part, there's more where that came from. 15 zombies. 1 hammer, 0 damage. What could go wrong? Everything. First off, the hammer swings like your character is underwater and missing half their motor skills. Second, zombies don't wait politely in a line. They charge, flail, and gang up on you like you owe them money. And third, if one of them so much as sneezes in your direction, combo broken, start over. So what do? You isolate. You scout, you lure zombies one by one like some infected Pied Piper. Except instead of a flute, you've got a glorified toolbox in your hand. You inch forward, you swing, you pray. 15 kills later, your palms are sweating, your nerves shot, and the trophy pops. You did it, perfect run, 0 scratches. But at what cost? You've turned a blunt weapon into a bullet performance, and now every hammer in your toolbox feels like a silent judge. Act 2. where the sun-soaked beaches are replaced by sewers, slums, and sorrow. You thought you were playing a fun zombie game on a vacation island. Now you're knee-deep in filth, crawling through the world's worst plumbing system, swatting off the undead like flies at a corpse buffet. The quests, glorified torture. Find this fuse box. Restart this pump. Escort this NPC with the survival instincts of wet cardboard. You suffer through glitchy level design, constant backtracking, and zombie spawn rates that suggest the island is breeding them in real time. Eventually, after hours of drudgery, the act ends. The trophy pops. You expect relief, but you feel nothing. You're dirty, you're tired, and you're starting to suspect that this island has no end. Just new forms of pain, disguised as progress. But hey, at least there were no raccoons. Probably because even they have standards. Finally, a break from zombies. Time to kill all humans. You know, the people you're supposedly trying to save. The line between hero and psychopath blurs quickly here. Some of them shoot at you first. Some just yell things. All of them. Dead. Because the trophy says so, it starts to feel weird. You burst into a camp, swing your weapon, and within seconds you've turned someone's cousin into a smear on the pavement. They scream in English, actual words reminding you that these aren't infected monsters. These are angry survivors and you're their personal apocalypse. But you need that trophy, so you press on. 50 kills in, you're desensitized, you don't see faces, just XP bars and limbs. The trophy pops. Humanitarian. The irony is so thick you could bludgeon someone with it. You stare at the screen, bat in hand, surrounded by corpses. And you whisper, I did it for the bronze. A heroic sounding trophy, right? Savior. Has a nice ring to it. Like you swooped in with a cape, slow motion and all. In reality, you stumble upon 5 idiots who manage to trap themselves in open spaces with nothing but poor decisions and zero spatial awareness. They scream. You sigh. Out comes your half-broken machete and the last fumes of your patience. You kill a few zombies. They thank you like you just pulled them from a burning building instead of lazily swatting away 3 half-dead joggers with head trauma. And do they reward you with something useful? Of course not. Just some canned food or emotional baggage. You save them, they stay behind, and you move on, more jaded, more convinced that natural selection has a point. 5th survivor saved. The trophy pops. You don't feel like a savior. You feel like a babysitter in hell. And everyone's grounded. Act 3 is where hope goes to die. Gone are the sunny beaches and sewer stench. Now you're in the jungle, wet, confusing, and crawling with zombies that can spot you from the next province. The map? Useless. The paths? Twisting death traps. The enemies? Faster, stronger, and angrier, probably because they're stuck in this act too. You slog through mud and vines, doing missions that make zero sense. Go here, talk to this cult, escort this moron, find some ancient thing that's not explained. The writing goes full fever dream. Suddenly there are rituals, shamans, and plot twists no one asked for. By the time Act 3 ends, you're not the king of the jungle. You're the exhausted janitor who cleaned up everyone else's mess. The trophy pops. You don't roar. You don't celebrate. You just sit there soaking in sweat, bugs, and the haunting knowledge that Act 4 still exists. Firearms. Finally, a break from all the stick swinging and machete flailing, right? Wrong. Guns in Dead Island feel like water pistols loaded with disappointment. The aiming is stiff, ammo is rare, and the recoil feels like your character has never held a weapon before in their life, which is impressive for someone who's apparently a rapper, ex-cop, or survival expert. You need 250 kills. But half the zombies shrug off bullets like they're being tickled. Headshots help, but lining one up with this control scheme is like threading a needle with a shotgun. So you farm. You hoard bullets like gold. You spend more time looting pistols off corpses than actually using them. Eventually, 250 corpses hit the floor. The trophy pops. And you realize guns did help. Not because they were powerful, but because they gave you range. Emotional range, as in the space to cry while reloading. Redemption. That's what they call it. But after everything you've been through, fetch quests, sewer surfing, 3 PS3s humming like a server farm, there's no redemption. Just Act 4 a short, chaotic finale that pretends to be a climax but feels more like a mercy killing. The plot has officially lost its mind. Suddenly you're fighting mercenaries, chasing a villain with the personality of a wet sock, and trying to stop a plan that was never really explained. You're in a lab, then a prison. Then you're getting gunned down while zombies scream in stereo. It's all noise, bullets, and plot holes. And then it ends. Abruptly. The credits roll. The trophy pops. You've redeemed the island. Or doomed it. Honestly, it's unclear. But what you do know is that your controller is slick with sweat and regret. And the worst part, you're not even done yet. The name suggests fun. Like a party trick. Catch, boom, everyone laughs. But in Dead Island, grenades are more like angry suggestions than actual weapons. The blast radius is questionable, the damage inconsistent, and the zombies always sprinting away like they owe you money. And of course, it has to be an infected, not a walker, not a thug. No, you need one of those screaming, flailing maniacs who charges you like you insulted their mother. You try to time the throw, you miss, you hit a tree, you hit yourself. The infected doesn't die, it gets angrier. Eventually, you cheese it. Trap them, throw, backpedal like a coward, and boom, one finally goes flying. The trophy pops, you exhale, it should have felt satisfying. Instead, you feel like the guy who brought fireworks to a funeral. A little too loud, a little too late, and somehow still disappointing. The butcher, a twitching, shrieking nightmare made of tendons, trauma, and arm stumps sharp enough to julienne your hopes. And now the game wants you to kill this thing with an axe. Not a gun, not a modded death stick. No, an axe, preferably dull, for maximum suffering. You approach cautiously. The butcher screams like a broken blender and charges. You swing your axe, it misses. He hits. You fly across the room like you're made of regrets. Healing, dodging, backpedaling. This isn't combat. This is pest control with medieval tools. Hit after hit, your axe chips away at him. He just won't die. He grunts, slashes, and lunges like he's on his 6th espresso. Then finally, Chichenke, he drops. The trophy pops. You look down at your axe. Then at the mangled corpse. Then at yourself, bleeding, wheezing, mentally unwell. Spoiled meat. That's not the butcher anymore. That's you? A trophy for arson. Wonderful. The goal turned 10 zombies into a walking bonfire at the same time. Not in total, no, simultaneously. Which means you need to gather a small undead flash mob, lure them into a cozy circle, and then light the barbecue. Sounds easy until you realize zombies are not known for their coordination. Some wander off, some sprint ahead, others get stuck behind fences like confused toddlers. So you gather them up like cattle made of rot and disappointment. Then you throw a Molotov, it misses, hits a tree. You catch yourself on fire, restart. After countless attempts, and probably burning down half the island, you finally do it. 10 zombies, dancing in the flames like cursed marshmallows. The trophy pops. You look at the screen suit covered and dead-eyed and think, is this who I am now? A man who sets corpses on fire for virtual validation. Yes, it is. This isn't a trophy, it's a medical record. You don't heal 100 times in Dead Island because you're clumsy. You do it because the game hates you. Zombies hit like trucks. Explosions come out of nowhere. And your character has the physical resilience of a sun-dried leaf in hurricane season. So you stock up on medkits. You hoard them like toilet paper in a pandemic. Every time you get scratched, you heal. Bitten, heal. Looked at the wrong way, heal. You're not surviving, you're pausing death. Over and over and over. Eventually, it becomes habit. Reflex. You tap the button without thinking. You start healing for tiny paper cuts just to hit the count. And then, ding, trophy unlocked. You don't feel healthy, you feel dependent. And somewhere in the background, your character probably has a medkit addiction support group forming. But hey, at least you're still standing. Here's the thing, I didn't earn this trophy. I time traveled for it. Because like hell I was going to wait 28 actual days just to satisfy this passive-aggressive piece of code. So I did what any rational person drowning in trophy fatigue would do. I tweaked the PS3's internal clock, jumped forward a year, and fired up the game like it was a zombie-themed DeLorean. And guess what? It worked. The trophy popped instantly. No gameplay, no effort. Just pure, beautiful manipulation of time and trust. Dead Island looked confused. Like, wait, weren't you just here yesterday? And I said, yes, but also no. I didn't survive the island for 28 days. I gaslit the calendar into thinking I did. Honestly, it was the easiest trophy of them all, but also the most symbolic, because if you're bending time just to finish this nightmare, then congratulations, you've officially lost control. Fury mode, the game's way of saying, we know everything is broken, so here, have a cheat button. You press it, your screen goes red, your character starts grunting like a caffeinated gorilla, and suddenly you're slicing through enemies like a blender with daddy issues. The first time feels powerful, the 10th still fun. By the 100th kill, you're no longer activating Fury out of strategy, you're doing it out of spite. Zombies show up, Fury human enemies blink Fury. You stub your toe in game. Rage fueled apocalypse. But Fury attacks don't last long, and kills don't count unless they're done during the window. So now you're sprinting into mobs just to pop rage like an addict looking for their next fix. Eventually the trophy pops and you've killed 100 enemies while basically blacking out in game. You don't feel proud, you feel dangerous, and maybe a little too comfortable with the rage. Suiciders, the walking middle fingers of Dead Island. They waddle towards you, scream like an exploding blender, and then detonate just as you try to line up a shot. And now the game wants you to kill one with a grenade before it kills itself. It's like asking someone to disarm a bomb by throwing dynamite at it. You find one. You prep the grenade. You throw. Too early. It walks away. Too late. Boom. You're dead, trophyless, and doubting your life decisions. You start stockpiling grenades like a paranoid action hero, waiting for the perfect moment. But timing it right feels like trying to catch lightning with a bucket full of disappointment. Eventually, luck or divine pity smiles on you. The suicider steps into the blast zone at the exact right frame. Boom, he explodes because of you, not himself. The trophy pops. You feel victorious, but also slightly insane. Because who wins in a battle of suicidal corpses and live explosives? No one. Except the trophy counter. This trophy doesn't reward creativity, it rewards obsession. You don't just craft weapons, you mass-produce nightmares. You're duct taping batteries to machetes, welding saw blades onto baseball bats, and attaching fire mods to objects that clearly shouldn't be flammable. At first, it feels cool. You make your first shock weapon. It zaps a zombie, you grin. Then you realize you need 24 more. So you start crafting everything that moves. Pipes, hammers, cleavers. If it has a handle, you're turning it into an OSE violation. Eventually, your inventory looks like the lost and found bin at a serial killer convention. You don't even care if the weapons are good. You're just slapping mods on junk to hit the quota. Oh, this rusty wrench. Yeah, let's electrify it. For art. Weapon 25, the trophy pops. You stare at your collection and wonder, did I build this to survive? Or am I just really into weaponized overcompensation? A reference to The Hobbit, right? Cute. Except Bilbo didn't have to fight zombie meth heads while looking for collectible number 59 under a broken palm tree. You, on the other hand, are forced to explore every inch of Banoi like a traumatized tourist with a machete and trust issues. You think you've been everywhere. You've climbed cliffs, swum through sewers, wandered into glitched geometry. And still, that last 1% taunts you like a mosquito in your bedroom at 3 a.m., so you retrace your steps again and again, wondering, did I forget to step on that one rock behind the gas station in Act 2? Eventually, through sheer luck or desperation, you hit the final trigger. The trophy pops. And what do you feel? Not wonder, not pride, just exhaustion. Because you didn't explore paradise. You crawled through hell with a checklist. Exceptional weapons. Not good, not rare. Exceptional. That's what the game calls them. But finding 5 of these, it's like looking for caviar in a landfill. You search every chest, every corpse, every dusty corner of Banoi, hoping to find that golden glow that says, yes, this one's better than the garbage you've been using for 40 hours. But the game doesn't make it easy. Oh no, the loot system is more random than your sleep schedule. You open a chest, bam, broomstick. Next one, rusty pipe. Third one, another broomstick, but exceptional this time because it has a slightly shinier handle. I also did not get any exceptional weapons during normal gameplay. I had to be in game for 12 hours at a time to get one. So I set up 3 consoles overnight and joined the games of the other consoles to get the 5 weapons. The trophy pops. And you realize you just spent 4 hours looking for a slightly better stick. Rootin' tootin' lootin'. And slowly unraveling. Nearly there, the game says. Like it's encouraging. Like you haven't already spent hours crawling through trash heaps, sewer tunnels, and blood-soaked bungalows looking for audio logs and random scraps of narrative no sane person ever asked for. You find the first 20 without effort, then it slows. Suddenly you're combing the same zones again, flashlight in hand, questioning your eyesight and your life decisions. The final 20, they're hidden like the developers wanted you to suffer. One's on a roof you can't reach. One's behind a locked door that only opens during a full moon. And one, you're pretty sure it doesn't exist, so you open guides, you triple, check your checklist. You re-enter every zone like a memory-addled tourist, muttering to yourself and hoping for a miracle. And finally, ding 120, nearly there, the trophy says. But you know the truth, you've already gone too far. This isn't a healing trophy. This is spite made digital. You're asked to waste a large medkit, the apocalypse's equivalent of a golden egg, on a scratch, a paper cut, a mosquito bite. It's like using a fire extinguisher on a lit birthday candle. And the game rewards you for it. You wait until the perfect moment. Your health bar drops slightly, just a sliver. Any normal player would ignore it. But not you. No, you pause the action, open your inventory, scroll past 37 energy drinks and a rusty crowbar, and slam that large mech down like you just got run over by a truck. Your character groans. Overdramatic. The screen flashes, and the trophy pops. You stare at the screen, morally compromised. The game smiles and says, everybody lies. And in that moment, you realize it's not about healing. It's about proving you'd burn a resource just to make a number go up. And yes, you absolutely would. Analog fighting. 2 words that sound innovative on paper and feel like hand-to-hand combat with your own thumbs. Instead of pressing a button to swing your weapon, you now flick the right stick in specific directions, repeatedly, violently, until your thumb develops early onset arthritis. You enable it. You try it. You miss. A lot your swings go wild, left when you meant right, diagonal when you wanted straight. Zombies stand confused. You stand frustrated. It's not fighting, it's interpretive dance with a weapon that breaks every 4 hits. But you push through, you adapt, you become one with the stick. Every zombie becomes a thumb war opponent. Your controller starts making noises it's not supposed to. You stop feeling the joint in your knuckle. 150 kills later, the trophy pops. And you realize this wasn't analog fighting. This was analog suffering. But hey, at least now you're emotionally bonded to your right stick forever. Level 50. The final grind. Not a test of skill, but of stamina, patience, and your willingness to sacrifice happiness for a pixelated number. By this point, you've completed the story, farmed every arena, killed every variation of zombie known to mankind, and yet that XP bar still crawls forward like a slug with depression. You repeat quests, kill loops, exploit arena spawns. Every fight feels hollow. Every ding of XP is a reminder that this island has become your entire world. You no longer chase goals, you chase digits. You're not playing anymore, you're clocking in. Punching the undead like a bored employee on a double shift. And then finally, the bar fills. Level 50. Trophy pops. You don't cheer, you don't smile, you just nod. Because you didn't beat Dead Island. You outlasted it with bleeding thumbs, strained eyes, and a soul held together by caffeine and the fading hope of platinum glory. And what did you gain? A digital sticker. A virtual pat on the back. Proof that you spent dozens of hours willingly marinating in zombie blood, glitchy AI, and emotional decay. You're not a gamer anymore. You're a documented survivor of Banoi. The whole world went away. And all that's left is you, clutching your trophy, grinning, dead inside, and already thinking, okay, what's next? Make sure to like and especially subscribe if you like the content and are excited for the future games. Now let's spin the wheel and see what game comes next. I'll see you in the next video.
Exciting. Three, only 3. Ooh. Ooh. What is advanced? Oh no, I don't want to switch to advanced. Never mind. 3. So it's 1, 2, 3. And then we spin. Oh no. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? No, 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 no. What's it gonna be? No way! No way! Oh no! This is the worst one that we could have gotten. Are you really serious about this right now? Oh man. No, no, I really don't want to do that. Oh, this is worse than Need for Speed and Dead Island together. How is it possible that the wheel fucks me over so many times? How is that truly possible?